loopy convolutions of a garden hose, the groovy walk circuitous starting at home, swearing constancy in the speech act, to teach Kanye in his sleepy raps, toying with being the rumored Nazi, the joys of reading true philosophy, as the poignant evening loomed involvingly, embroidering meaning into your thought stream, stitching together the meanings as tender buttons, invisibly tethered to meaning's clever cousin, anchored with the gravitas of a clinician, the savior of happenstance and indirection, the waiter cracking a glass in his ineptitude, the mayor crack in hand his web interview, the global blobs of language in a lava lamp, their noble cause displaying the savage man under the wonderful starlit endlessness. Upholding art as the fetish, is literature important? The task we neglect, too simple to forget my happiness, to tickle the cortex like a jazz pianist. This liminal orifice rhymes pass through is blessed, the gift of a gabardine raincoat, a glitter as the capitalist Jay-Z knows, delivering in his raps these fatal blows, sifting through the sands for a trace of hope. Myriad and manifold the whack MCs, adhering to the track as gold the magnet seeks, trash MCs, these perfect and precious in reality. We deserve the best desperately, every MC was weaker and stronger differently. Don't sleep on a song as if it's beneath you, if you don't recognize the moniker. A widespread name is not true honor, though I'll admit there's many whack MCs out there, as the atoms beneath culture. Golden. The golden spray of electromagnetic solar waves flavescent, souls astray among the heavens. These cold gray fluffy elephants, yo. The cumulonimbus flowing through his cold fingertips. The broken lute's old string snipped, the poet using old English, projecting forms translucent at the lectern, ignoring black students. Their foreign black luminance, rejecting your Andrew within. His metaphors had a blue tint, a special orgiastic groupthink, American. The manifest entropy, an epitaph in dead letters reads, Here lies sprawling some giant. The night appalled at such brightness, dividing knowledge and science. The writing from all that incites it. Decolonial, the sunrise, his recent poetry of the sky. The rhythm, Afrobeat, the system as one, so becoming two. Yeah, so run, jewels, troubling the blue, the bubbles of confusion, cartoon school, the subhuman, where Hegels feared the rushing fool, the rush to the fool devoting black love regardless to those anti-black among the Marxists, red whites, their heroes in blue, street Jedi, their fear approaching you as if terrifiedly attacked by a tarantula, or Black Lives Matter, his scary rhymes giant windmills, their violence a sign of his guilt. Their violence a sign of his guilt. Hegelian, the Trump reversal, his lesson evidently unrehearsable, hymning bigly the souls of black women, sensitivity programmed into him, divine empath, complexion high yellow black, the jello laugh extended by telegraph. Orange inform the loudspeaker orbit. This ornery proud believer, as nouns get stuck as verbs flow, countless as bubbles in the world foam. The dong of a later bell from earlier time, the conveyor belt murderer, the swan of paper propelled on current words upon the dank smelling earthy current. Alternative facticity, red hats daring to dream a better past, divorcing the sensory from truth so distorted as the memory of a UFO scribbled in the memoir grammarless, their simple distress at our blackness. The MAGA hat zombies and the pastor's fascist pathology and the fact of neuroplasticity of the human and black you are split between. In the future Africa sits serene, the base profound, God's headquarters, Hegel resounding off the walls of the cave, echoing every which way, though not central, not effortlessly great. The sophistry bent into this shape, awkwardly and with true disdain, for the scholarly pencil you raise to question his messages too strange. The poet and adept as 2 chains. Yo. Crazy. I see fairies flying around everywhere, just flying around. Sometimes it snows in April, undermining the flow of fate's will, covering earth in forgetful snow, discovering words as Kenneth Coke running through an Africa for love, to love you as hands in warm gloves, a vortex of drugs or floral fluff, to translate the sorrow of the doves as lovers, the rubber soul-quarian proletarian, and their uncontrolled hysteria. Ni wakati seesaw, the world's a dream of monkeys reading Kant, supine on their lovely green lawn, or flying above the Yukon. One elegant op-ed writer, selling assault weapons to minors, turning to poetry's dark side. Andrew's ghost, these guards at night, stabbing through your soul in one snarky bite, narcotic the flow of archetypes. The grandfather sponge bath, her hands popping bubble wrap. The colossus, the hippopotamus, Eliotic, the winter solace, impressing his project as a stamp. The letters falling through the flap, ancestral, the medium and message, mentally cleaning up the mess of it. The language, graminaceous, pages of grass and tall hazels, this vast green-smelling text of his, philanthropy Delphic, the Philadelphian storyteller, in his red, green, orange sweater, wrapped in the habits of a city man. His rap's a stuffed curriculum. These teeming planets, this easy speech underhanded, the colors shifting difficult, in the kaleidoscope simple, as the snowy peaks of Mount Kenya, his frozen speech resounds, forever, 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 ever. Afrobeat, 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 Afrobeat. deft his impossible pencil, spending his dollars on fentanyl, his belt loose like the hostess in wealth-induced psychosis, cocaine and the cloop of the cork, the human torch, trillions invested in Batman, forgetting the black demand about as apt to them as the Tempest, the Caliban, regretting the MAGA clan as many did the Zappa band, stretching as Plastic Man. The savage man, his outstretched arms reaching heaven, hallucinating away reality, the blue face of an addict ODing, blue with gray patches of meaning, the first world a graveyard, his strange art purple and swirls in German murmurs he breaks apart, the safeguards, the verbal hurdles, working as Drake, his heart aflame in his dark urban world. Afrobeat, 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 Afrobeat. Figuratively screwed, i.e. hopeless, privilege-induced psychosis, the culprits laughing in the rocket, out into blackness uncolonized. Out into blackness, uncolonized. Figuratively screwed, i.e. hopeless, privilege-induced psychosis, the culprits laughing in the rocket, out into blackness uncolonized. Out into blackness uncolonized. Afrobeat, 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 Afrobeat. You're listening to Where Hegels Fear to Tread, an album of Afrobeat music, Afrobeat music, Afrobeat music, Afrobeat music, Afrobeat music. Afrobeat, 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 black poetry and the flat soles of his feet. Afrobeat, 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 a savage Roman decree, and man's soul redeemed. The ball player imitating Jesus, always the critic atheistic, his dictionary speech Mbaruk, digitigrade, the sneaky cartoon, the rapper's puzzle to free desire after months of no ceasefire, swaying about upon the stem of it. If anything mattered, the fallen petals did, the cruelest month unfolding, a new moon drugging the ocean, so thin, the David Byrne line frozen in space, a blur in time, extraneous, the unicorn, debating with the human form, the merits of surrealism, the raging war between the different media.
White Frenchman, prophecy, the stream mapping out the ancestors' own scheme, never dead, always here with me.
Mr. Gone Wobbly from the Spirits, printing the wrong copy of his lyrics into the phenomenology of spirit. The song's folly inheres in it, diabolic, the dialectical style of frolic, while they settle tribal politics, the mime electable by the polis, silent as the soul, as urban mimes in Greece and Italy, German idealism, these perfect rhymes he bleeds in English serve as the spine of these ridiculous, slightly masochistic given Christ's ecstatic crucifixion, writing wrapped in blues and rhythm, the Geist inhabiting human systems taller than those evergreens ahead, walking where Hegels feared to tread, devolvingly entering the temple, the mentally regressing polity, honoring these texts as spectral ecstasy, the devil haunting these in maudlin grief, the death of metal, detrimental, the federal sovereignty. Afrobeat, as if these cats could read and the chattel could speak. This era we enter now, in the 2020s, it's defined by the fragment. Selecting an apple for the knowledge, eclectic, the Catholic laundry list, an old habit, the culture unfolding, old-fashioned, the pulse of the moment. He always read Chekhov in autumn, talking his message hop as common. The novel dead but not forgotten, a talking head upon the monitor. News now riddled with unseriousness, the 2-hour filmic experience, a dodo bird among pigeons. The soul deferred to one religion, a capitalistic empty poetry emblematic of the 2020s. Our hegemonic genre was the fragment. As common as it was alien, the internet broke things to pieces, written as the soul-fixed secret. These chocolates assorted, these days we belong to a disorganization, the uniform with a unicorn in the coat of arms his students wore. The uniform with a unicorn in the coat of arms his students wore. Though it grew warm, the shoes worn, they know the art of fluid lore, Homeric lyric and questioning Greek tragedy and Hegel in every appearance of humanity as an Afro-pessimist. Poetry as the cash flowing effortless, the cash he holds to the energetic flame with no end game.
Selecting an apple for the knowledge, eclectic, the Catholic laundry list, an old habit, the culture unfolding, old-fashioned, the pulse of the moment. He always read Chekhov in autumn, talking his message hop as common. The novel dead but not forgotten, a talking head upon the monitor. News now riddled with unseriousness, the 2-hour filmic experience, a dodo bird among pigeons. The soul deferred to one religion, a capitalistic empty poetry emblematic of the 2020s. Our hegemonic genre was the fragment. 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 Our hegemonic genre was the fragment.
Yo, check it out. The bottle, a bubbling quart of fructose, impossible to outsmart Trudeau, his novel, the avant-garde's new low, recalling how his art grew old, the comical cloud Mbaruk soul, scrawling flowers, hearts, and a few notes in the margins of his marginalia. This artist in his darkest makeup, Justin Trudeau. The name of the father, just and true, were only names the brother offered. A libation to the goddess, hospitalized and patient through the process. The slave institutionalized. Paper the wind blew through the night. Pages invisible to the human eye. Anciently pictured the moon at night. Giant. The low-hanging crescent, the scientist blown away by Hegel and riding home today the white elephant, his shiny golden egg despite everything random, the layers of liquid or matter, their tragic flavor insipid or sapid, gravitation the river's roar's catalyst, that bit of rhyming's a touch too contrived, too subtle to survive, invisible to the Jambo, tunajifunza Kiswahili. Yo, check it out. Yo, Yo. My father taught us enough to get by, touristically, but who am I? To spit a verse in Swahili, Elfu Mbili, the multitude verbal vocabulary forgotten and murmured, with barely the confidence purple of a florid philosopher's circle. Inataka kunyesha mvua, the streets flashingly wet in Vancouver, as if climbing Kilimanjaro. I rise and spit a rap, inarguably the weakest on this project. Bwana Yuleana Kuja, the scholar today raps in the future. Tuambaye anakuja, anakuja, watu ambao wanakuja, wanakuja. Tuambaye atakuja, atakuja, watu ambao watakuja. Mtu ambaye amekuja, amekuja, watu ambao wamekuja, wamekuja. Mtu ambaye alikuja, alikuja, watu ambao walikuja, walikuja. Mtu ambaye haji, haji, watu ambao hawaji, hawaji. Mtu ambaye hatakuja, hatakuja, watu ambao hawatakuja, hawatakuja. Mtu ambaye hakuja, hakuja, watu ambao hawakuja, hawakuja. Mtu ambaye hajaja, hajaja, watu ambao hawajaja, hawajaja. Mtu ambaye akija, akija, watu ambao wakija, wakija. Mtu ambaye lazima aje, lazima aje, watu ambao lazima waje, lazima waje. Mtu ambaye lazima asije, lazima asije, watu ambao lazima wasije, lazima wasije. Listen to this Afrobeat, wildly flickering as a candle, his freestyle. Afrobeat. Afrobeat. By now I'm no stranger to Afrobeat, born in a manger or in the castle retreat, hanging around in this plastic seat. This bus rider, randomly speaking, is Afrobeat, this rat's little squeak. I was an animal unique, his freestyle savage as the sea, a ribbon fastened to the tree. Yo, black as his dreams, a rhyme hidden within his cavernous being. Alas, the passage of the speaker from Africa to Greece. The rhyme a telescope standing on its feet, directing your attention to the black swan's greed, or to the rap song beneath this production. The verse a bad apology for the current path I'm on the street. It's just an Afrobeat song. The Picasso in Klingon. It had to be told in English, this song. It's just an Afrobeat song. Afrobeat. feet on the street, standing on the leaders and leaders of the sea. Afrobeat, 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 Afrobeat. Yeah. All right. That was. I think that I'll use that freestyle. And that's the album. That's the album where Hegels feared to tread.